Electrodynamics. Electrodynamics. Going to deal with electric machines. Going to deal with electric machines. As in South Africa, it's a time where we are experiencing load shedding. So we're going to talk about electric machines. Maybe, we don't know, maybe one of the people who are watching this YouTube channel, since they are still at high school, maybe they will come up with solutions in which electricity can be generated cheap, so that we can restore the normality of issues we are facing as a country when it comes to load shedding. So here we're going to talk about generator and motor. We know what the generator is. Generators is what we are using in shops when there is load shedding to try to keep the lights on. And motor, these are also things that we use at our homes, like the fans, a fan that blow wind when it is hot. So we're going to explore on them. This topic is called electrodynamics. So that's what we will talk about. Okay. So now let us start with the business of the day of electrodynamics. So in this electrodynamics, we are going to use magnets to create a voltage and current. So this is about generating electricity. We are going to come across situations whereby we are producing or generating electricity from magnets. You can see that with me, I'm holding two magnets which have got a south pole and a south pole. And you can see that as I try to bring south pole next to south pole, there is repulsion. But immediately I take north pole and south pole, I bring them together, the magnets, they get attracted. So how do we use a magnet to generate electrical current or a voltage, which we call EMF? Going to talk about EMF. EMF will stand for electromotive force. So we're going to talk about EMF, which is the electromotive force, whose SI unit is V, which is volt. V for volt. So the first thing that we need to understand is, how does a magnet work? So the first thing that we need to take note of is that the electric field lines in the magnet, they move from north to south. So if I draw an electric field line here, it means the electric field line will be from north to south. They will be from north to south. From north to south. So that is the first thing. Electric field line, they will never move from south to north. They will move from the north to the south. So I usually try to tell learners that during the time of apartheid, people from all over the world, from the north, they traveled to the south, of which they came and colonized South Africa. So people from north traveled to the south and colonized South Africa. I think that scenario, it can make you to be able to know that electric field lines are going to move from the north to the south. They came from the northern hemisphere. They came to South Africa. We did not go to them, they came to South Africa. So that is something you can use to try and remember that the electric field line are going to be drawn from north pointing to the south. Okay, we've already started electrodynamics. So how does this electrodynamic work? How do we create an electromotive force? How do we create an EMF, a voltage? How do we create a voltage from magnet? So this is how it works. If we have a magnet like this, and we have an electric conducting wire, just like I'm holding an electric conducting wire, I can simplify it that when an electric conducting wire moves against the electric field line. Remember, we have electric field line here. Then we take an electric conducting wire, a wire, that electric cord. It is also a wire that we have at home. We take that electric conducting wire and we move it against the electric field. I can basically say the electric field line, since we use lines to represent electric field. As the electric conducting wire moves and it is opposing the direction of the electric field lines, what will happen? That will cause an electromotive force to be generated. There will be a voltage that will be generated in the wire. When this voltage is generated in the wire, remember that the voltage, as we did in electric circuit, the voltage does what? It drives charges. Electromotive force drives charges. It causes charges to start to move. And remember, those charges is what we know as current. So it means that when we move an electric conducting wire just in between two magnets, moving them in between two magnets where there are force of attraction, where there are electric field line, it is going to cause the rise of electromotive force in the wire. And when there is a rise of electromotive force, what will happen? There will be a generation of current. It means charges will start to move in the wire. So usually we make a coil. The question now is, what is a coil? A coil is when we take an electric conducting wire and we turn it, we form a shape that is like this. You can see that I've turned this electric conducting wire along this pen. Now, can you see? I've created a coil. The electric conducting wire now, it is in circles. You see? So when they talk about a coil, they're not just talking about something that is very difficult to understand, something that you don't know. They're just talking about an electric conducting wire which is coiled. So if I have this electric conducting wire then I do what? I move it against the electric field line. What will happen? There's going to be a rise of electromotive force. There's going to be a voltage that is going to be produced. So we use the word induce. You will find us using the word induce. We say that when you move an electric conducting wire along the electric field lines, you're going to induce current. So this word induce, it must not surprise you. We just say produce. So in other words, we are saying that when you move an electric conducting wire along the magnets, along the electric field line, you're going to do what? You're going to induce current. Because why is the current being induced? Why is the current being produced? Is because of the electromotive force that you have created through moving the what? The electric conducting wire along the magnets. Then when you produce that EMF, it is going to produce current. Then charges are going to move. So now I hope you understand how we get to induce current and the EMF. We induce current and EMF when we do what? We move a coil along the electric field line between two magnets. So that's how we produce current and the EMF. So now let us talk about what can we do if we want to increase the current. If we want to increase the current, I've already showed you that how we produce the current and how we produce that electromotive force. So how to increase the current? How to increase current in the circuit. Remember that I have two magnets, north and south. I'm going to have the coil of wires, which I can make it a circuit. Then I connect maybe a bulb here. I'm just giving you an example. I connect a bulb here. It forms a circuit. You can see it's formed a circuit where current is going to circulate. So how do I increase the current here? You're going to come across questions which will ask you how to increase current here. Before I talk about details, let's just start by talking how do I increase that current, since I've already told you that we are going to induce current because of the EMF that was created when we move an electric carrying wire along the electric field between two magnets. So if I want to increase the current, the first thing that I can do, I can increase the coil rotation. I can increase the coil rotation. Remember, a coil is this wire that I have coiled it. Coil rotation, it means this electric conducting wire which I have coiled, we call it a coil. We call it a coil simply because I've coiled it, it is coiled. So if I want to increase the current, then I want to increase the voltage. If I want to increase the voltage, what do? It means the speed in which I am moving this coil. Isn't it this coil is rotating, it's moving like this in a rotating manner. What do? It means I will just increase the what? I will increase the speed at which this coil is rotating. That by doing that, I'll be increasing the what? The electromotive force, and that will increase the current. It means the charges are going to be pushed faster because the force that pushes the current, that drives the current, it has increased. So it means the first thing, if I want to increase the current, I'm going to move the coil faster. When the coil moves faster, it causes the current to be high by increasing the electromotive force. So that is the first thing. If I want to increase the voltage, I'll just rotate that coil fast. It is simple. It means if you are rotating the coil slow or the coil is moving up and down, just take note that the coil does not need only to rotate. As long as you are moving an electric conducting wire just against the electric field line, that will cause the production of the EMF, the voltage. So just note that it's not about only coiling it, even if you move it up and down. So, but since here we're going to talk about coils, it means if you increase coil rotation, if the coil is rotating faster, it means there's going to be a high production of a current and voltage. I hope you understand. Isn't it we're talking about how to increase the voltage? What is the second thing? Number two, what can I do if I want to increase the voltage? Look, since this is a coil, it means, let's say I coiled it 4 times. When I've coiled it 4 times, it is not going to produce the electromotive force that is the same as when I've coiled it 10 times. You can see that the area of coiling is going to do what? To increase. So it means when you increase this area of coiling, it means you have increased the area at which that voltage is going to be produced. You understand? So it means if you want to increase the voltage, what do? Increase number of coils. Increase number of coils. What does that mean? It means if a coil have just coiled it 5 times, if you double the coiling, you make it 10. When the rotation is occurring, the electromotive force that is going to be produced and the current that is going to be induced, it's not going to be equal. So it means when you increase the number of coils, it means if I want to generate a high voltage and a high current, it means what do? I'm going to use a bigger magnet. I'm going to use a bigger coil. So it means a smaller coil is going to want to have small amount of current and voltage, but a bigger coil, it is going to have a high amount of current and voltage that are going to be produced. So this is one of the things that you can do. You just increase coil rotation and you increase the what? The number of coil. What is the third thing that you can do if you want to increase the current? These questions, they usually ask them. They are simple and straightforward. If you want to increase the coils, what do? I mean, not the coil. When you want to increase the current and the voltage, you can increase the magnetic field strength. Remember, if you have 2 magnets, north and south, remember we move from north to south. The electric field line are going to move like that. Or let us make it as a good scientific representation. Electric field lines are going to move like that from north to south, not from south to north. Just like the colonizers. They move from there up in the globe, then coming down to Africa and South Africa in particular. So, you increase the magnetic field strength. What do we mean by increasing the magnetic field strength? Look, initially I was having only two magnets. You see the two magnets are attracting, right? If I want to increase the magnetic field strength, what can I do? I can just increase the number of magnets that I have. When I increase the number of magnets, what will happen? When I increase the number of magnets, it means I've increased the magnetic field strength. The strength of the magnetic field that will be there is going to do what? To increase. The strength of the magnetic field is going to increase. It's like when I use a bigger magnet, it's also another way of increasing the magnetic field strength. It means the field lines are going to be many when I use what? When I use a bigger magnet. So you can increase the magnetic field strength by just increasing the size of the magnet, and that will cause a high rise of what? Of electromotive force, which will eventually cause induction of high current. So these three things can cause an increase of voltage and current in the circuit. Okay, I hope you understand. So now, let me make a demonstration for you on the screen. We have got magnets, north and south pole, and the electric field line are moving from north towards the south. So here we have a coil. Remember I told you that a coil is simply an electric conducting wire. A coil is simply an electric conducting wire. So this is a coil which is rotating. As it rotates, you can see that this bulb is glowing. It is glowing because there is a production of current. There is a production of current. As that bulb glows, current is being produced. So you can see that as this coil rotates, this bulb starts to glow. It's because as this coil rotates, there's an electromotive force which is being produced. And as there is an electromotive force that is being produced, what will happen? There's going to be current that is being produced. So you can see the coil is rotating. The coil is, as it rotates, it is moving just where there are magnetic field lines. Then the bulb is glowing because there's a production of what? Of current. So that was electromotive force that was produced, which resulted in driving charges to move in the coil, and that is what we call current. Those charges, we call them current. Current is charges that are moving in the coil, a coil which is the electric conducting a wire. So now let us explain how everything works. So the current is produced and the motive force is produced, and that process, it uses this principle of electromagnetic induction. So current and the voltage that are produced from the principle of electromagnetic induction. Sometimes the examiner will ask you, what is the principle that is being used to bring about current and voltage? The principle that is used is the principle of electromagnetic induction. So what do we mean by electromagnetic induction? How is the voltage being produced? How is the EMF produced? How does it get produced? Sometimes you can find questions which can request you to explain how the EMF is produced. They use the principle of electromagnetic induction in the sense that they talk about magnetic flux. You know, in grade 11, we taught you about magnetic flux. So, as the coil is rotating, it means that the magnetic flux is changing position. So it means when there is a rate of change of magnetic flux. When there is a rate of change of magnetic flux connected with the coil, it produces, I can say, it produces the electromotive force. As the coil is rotating, it means the magnetic flux is changing position. There's a rate of change of magnetic flux. We use this symbol, we call this symbol phi, of which we won't do much formulas of calculating magnetic flux in this topic of electrodynamics. We get to calculate the magnetic flux for these things in the content of grade 11. So we assume that you have that basic knowledge of grade 11. You can watch the videos for grade 11 which explains into detail. So now, since we assume that we know what is magnetic flux, we are saying that the current and the voltage that are going to be produced when there is a rate of change of magnetic flux connected with the coil. In that coil, as the coil rotates, the magnetic flux is changing position. As you saw that the coil was rotating, and as it rotates, the bulb was glowing. The bulb is glowing because there's a rate of change of magnetic flux connected with the wire. So if ever you can be requested to explain how a voltage is produced, don't say a lot of things. Remember when I started, I said that when you move an electric conducting wire, you move it along the electric field line, it is going to produce the electromotive force which is going to induce current. You can say that, or you can simplify everything, because we say that this production of induction of current and the electromotive force, it is being brought about the electromagnetic induction. So electromagnetic induction talks about the magnetic flux. So you can use the principle of electromagnetic induction to explain how voltage or EMF is produced. You can explain in terms of the rate of change of magnetic flux. As the coil it is rotating, there is a change of position. It means there is a rate of change of magnetic flux which results in the production of the EMF, electromotive force, develop an electromotive force, and when electromotive force is developed, what will happen? It is going to induce current. I told you that do not be afraid of the word induce. To induce simply means to produce. So yes, the rate of change of magnetic flux causes the production of the EMF, which induces current. Okay. So here we're going to talk about a generator, and a motor. A motor. The difference between a generator and a motor is that it is very important that I teach you these two different things which are related, all of them together, so that you don't get confused and you make mistakes. I want to teach them by tabulating the difference. I'm teaching like it's like solving a simultaneous equation. I'm doing generator and motor simultaneously, doing both of them at the same time. So the difference is just that we know that a generator is that machine that we use during load shedding, and we are able to keep the lights on even during load shedding because of the generator. So this generator produces electricity. You can say that informally. We produce electricity, and this motor, it doesn't. It uses electricity as it's a. We can talk about a fan. You know a fan. Myself, I'm at Limpopo currently. We're making this video while we're being at Limpopo, at Malamlele. So it is very hot here during summers, although now it's winter. So when it is very hot, we know that we're going to take a fan and we use it to blow air so that we don't feel the hotness. So that is the motor. So a motor uses electricity, but this one does not use electricity. It produces. So let us talk about the energy conversion. The energy generator and motor energy conversion. How is energy converted? In the generator, mechanical energy is converted to electrical energy. So sometimes we will be asked, what is the energy conversion in the generator? And it's something that we know because we are using generators every day during load shedding. A generator converts mechanical energy to electrical energy. Then what about a motor? A motor does the opposite. A motor will just convert electrical energy to mechanical energy. So these are the main differences between a generator and a motor. A generator is just convert mechanical energy into electrical energy. While the motor will just convert electrical energy into mechanical energy. As we know that a motor uses electricity. An example of a motor, which I'm giving the example, I'm giving it all the time. What am I saying? Is the fan. A fan, we're going to plug it on the electric socket. Then it starts to blow air for us. It works by electricity. Without electricity, we know that a fan is not going to work. So that is an example of a motor. A generator, we just put some petrol there. Then it starts to operate. It converts mechanical energy into electrical energy. That's the main differences between a generator and then a motor. Okay, so now I want us to talk about something that is very important, and this thing is found in both a generator and a motor. So sometimes kids get confused. They think the things which I'm about to explain to you are found only in generator, are found in both. The only difference between a generator and a motor is just that for a motor you will see a source of energy or a battery in the circuit. Whenever you see a battery in the circuit, just know that you are dealing with a motor, because a motor will need electricity, it will need some sort of electricity. But a generator, you will not see any battery in the electric circuit, because a generator produces electricity. There is what we call AC motor or AC generator and what we call DC motor or DC generator. So you need to know that you may have AC and DC for both motor and a generator. It is very important. AC stands for alternate current. And stay tuned, I'm going to show you the graphs. The graphs, they love to set them in the exam. So it is rare to find an exam without the graph for electrodynamics. So stay tuned so that I show you and you don't get confused. This is stands for direct current. So we're going to talk about AC and DC generators and motors. But for now, let us start from generator. We're going to talk about AC generator and a DC generator. So sometimes they will ask you, is this an AC or a DC generator? How do you get to differentiate the two? Here is the main difference between an AC and a DC generator. The AC generator has got what we call the slip rings. And when I say slip rings and I don't show you a picture, I'm not doing justice because you cannot see. You just know slip ring and you do not know their differences. I'm going to bring in the screen so that you can be able to see. Then the DC has got split rings. We've got slip rings and split rings. So AC have got slip rings, DC have got slip rings. DC have got split rings. What am I saying? AC, slip rings, DC, split rings. So this is the main differences. And the exam guideline requires us to explain everything. Two magnets. The one which have got the North Pole and the other one have got the South Pole. You can see these two magnets. This is the North Pole and this is the South Pole. So, at the top you can see that I wrote AC. Why am I saying that this is the AC generator? It is an AC generator because it has got slip ring. What are the slip rings? The slip rings, the first thing you need to know is that a ring is the very same ring that you know that people put when they get married. Isn't it a ring? It is sort of a metal which have got a hole in the center. So you need to have that picture of a ring. So a slip ring, it's a type of a ring which does not have splits. What do we mean by splits? It is not broken into two parts. Actually, slip ring looks like the ring which people put on when they get married. That ring that people put on when they get married, it does not have splits. It does not have separation. So, a split ring have got separation. A split ring have got what? Separation. You'll find that we have got a ring which is splitted into two. You may not understand when I say splitted. So just know that a slip ring is just a continuous ring. It's a continuous circle with a hole in the center. It is continuous. It is not broken into two parts. Let me show you what a DC generator looks like. When we deal with a DC know that is an AC, you can see that this ring, it is not broken, it's just continuous, like the ring which people put on when they get married. That's why we say it's an AC. As I told you that an AC have got a slip ring. But a split ring, it looks like this. You can see the diagram that we have on the screen. Here, it is broken. You can see at that position, at this position, where there are lasers, it is broken. You see, it continues from here, but it gets broken here. It continues and it gets broken here. So we say that these rings are what? Asleep. These rings that appears on the screen are split rings. They are split. Why? You can see that there are splits here. It is splitted into two. It appears as if it's a ring at the top, then it's splitted, then another ring at the bottom, as you can see. So we call this a split ring because of this gap. There are gaps. There are gaps between the ring. There is a gap between the upper part of the ring and the lower part of the ring. You can see that there are gaps. So that's why we call this one the what? The split ring. It is called split ring because it have got gaps. It have got gaps. So I hope you can see the difference between a slip ring and a split. Check this one. You can see that there are no gaps. This one does not have gaps. It is not splitted. There are no gaps. It is continuous. Check this line. Check this line. It's just a continuous ring without any split, without any gap. But the split ring, which it is working in the DC, in direct current, it is producing direct current. It have got a split. You can see here, it is splitted. So that's how we differentiate between a DC, direct current, and then alternating current AC. AC have got slip ring. The slip ring, we do not have the one, the split. Slip ring, just like that one. Then the split ring, which one is the split ring? This one, which has got what? A gap. The one with a gap, it is the split ring. The rings are splitted. But the split ring, you're going to have the upper part of the ring, and then you're going to have the what? A split. You're going to have a split. So these are splits. These are splits. So that is the difference. Split ring. So an AC have got slip ring, continuous. Second, split ring is found in the DC current, direct current, whereby it is not continuous. Second, it is splitted. The upper part of the second, then splitted, then the lower part of the second. So that is the main differences. So there are other things which we need to explain. Their functions. We've got carbon brushes. We've got what we call carbon brush. Carbon brush. The first thing we need to know how the slip ring function and how the split ring function. What causes an AC generator? Remember I said I'm talking about a generator. I'm talking about a generator. But you need to take note that these rings, they can be found also in a motor. So, since here I'm talking about the generator, this slip ring, their function is to cause the current to alternate. It causes the current to alternate. When we say that the current is alternating, we are saying that the current is moving back and forth, back and forth. It causes the current to move back and forth. So this slip ring, they cause current to move what? Back and forth. Current does not move in the same direction and continuously so. Current will move in this direction and it comes back like that in an AC generator. We say that it is alternating. If we were representing a graph, it's on a graph representing the information in the graph where this is going to become a current and this will be changing time in second, current in amperes. It means that for the slip ring, current is going to move up, it comes down, it moves up, it comes down, it moves up, it comes down, just like that. Because the current is doing what? Is alternating. It moves up, it comes down. Moves up, it comes down. Because this is alternating current. What causes current to move up and down? It is because of the slip ring. The slip ring causes current to move up and down. So that is the main function of the slip ring. Then, what about the split ring? What is the function of the split ring? The split ring causes current to move in a single direction. These ones, they causes current to move in single and continuous direction. It means with the split ring, current is going to move in the same direction. We use, if we're talking about the current, and here we're changing time, the current is going to move like this in the same direction. It is not going to come down as if it's a wave and it goes up. No, it is going to move in the same direction. I will explain these graphs into details, telling you how you must draw them. For now, I'm just still explaining. So the split ring causes current to move in the same direction and continuously so. But the split ring causes current to alternate. So sometimes you can come across a question and they say that how can they make an AC generator to become a DC generator? What do? They change the rings. If you want to make an AC generator to become a DC generator, what do? You change the rings. If you remove the split ring and you put the slip rings, you have changed an AC to become a DC. Because the only difference between a DC and an AC, it is the way in which current moves. With the AC, current is alternating. With the DC, it is direct current. Current is moving in the same and continuous direction. So if you want to make an AC to become a DC, you have an AC. You have an AC and you want to make it a DC. What do? You change the rings. Let me just write how to make a AC generator to be DC. The answer is you change the slip rings. Change the slip rings to split rings. So it is easy. If you want to make a DC and AC, you change the slip ring to become the split rings. if you want to make a DC to become an AC, you remove the split ring from the DC and you put the slip ring of the AC. Then you have changed the generators. So sometimes they get to ask such kind of questions. So you will know that to change those generators, to make it to change from AC to DC, you just change the rings. So now I want to give you the function of the carbon brushes. But just before I give you the function of the carbon brushes, you need to be able to see what are carbon brushes. Okay, you can see that in this screen we've got an AC generator. Why are we saying that this is an AC generator? That is because of this ring. You can see the rings here, right? This is a coil, this is a coil, these are magnet. This is a magnet south pole, this is a magnet north pole. Then here we've got the rings. You can see that the rings is just a continuous circle which is not splitted. It means these are slip rings. So since are slip rings, it means this is an AC. It's an AC generator. How do we see that it is a generator? It is because there are no batteries here. There is nowhere in this circuit where we see batteries to show that it does not work by electricity. Instead, it creates or generates electricity. So this is a generator. It's an AC generator because of the split ring, and we know that it is a generator because there is no source of energy in the form of batteries. So I want to talk about carbon brushes. Carbon brushes are these things. This is a ring, then carbon brushes is something that protrude from the rings. This thing that have protruded from the ring, it is the carbon brushes. Let me even show you carbon brushes from another type of a ring. You can see this is still a slip ring, continuous circle, which is not broken. These are rings. These are carbon brushes. These are rings. These are carbon brushes. You can see the two protruding things from the ring. We call them carbon brushes. We call them what? Carbon brushes. Carbon brushes. So, what is the function of these carbon brushes? I can show you more carbon brushes. Another carbon brush. The carbon brushes are there here. This is a carbon brush. You can see here. This is a carbon brush. What is the function of this carbon brush? We do have carbon brush. We find them in both type of machines. This black dark color here, those are carbon brushes. When you see the dark color here, these are carbon brushes. When you see the dark color here, these are carbon brushes. So now we can talk about the functions of the carbon brushes. What is the function of carbon brushes? Okay, we're still talking about the carbon brushes. Let me just draw a slip ring, then I draw carbon brushes. Let me darken them so that we are able to see them. These dark darkened things, you'll find that an electrical wire is connected to them. Let's say we have a bulb here. For example, you can see, remember that these rings are connected with a what? With a coil. They're connected with a coil, and the coil will be turning. As it turns, then the rings, since this one is a slip ring, it will cause current to alternate, as that's the function of the slip ring. So, look at the wire, look at the circuit. We call this part the external circuit. The internal circuit, it is that part of the coil which is rotating. It is rotating, we call it the internal circuit. So what is the function? Look look exactly. Remember when I was teaching you electricity, I said these are what? These are wires, electric conducting wire. So these wires, you can see they are specifically connected with the brushes. So the function of carbon brush. The function of carbon brush is to what? Is to complete the circuit. Is to complete the circuit. Because there is electrical current which is going to move from the internal part of the circuit, the internal part of the turning coin to the outer part of the circuit. So the work of this thing is to complete the circuit. If we were to remove a carbon brush, the circuit was going to become incomplete, and we know that current cannot move in an incomplete circuit. So we have got the what? The carbon brush. Some they say that their function, which is the same thing, their function of the carbon brush is to move current from the rotating part of the circuit, which is the coin to the stationary circuit. You can call it external circuit. So it means these carbon brushes are going to cause current to move from the rotating part to the external part of the circuit. So that is the main function of the carbon brushes. So now I've taken you through everything that you need to know. I've taken you through the carbon brushes. I've taken you through the rings, the functions of the rings. So now we are good. We can talk about something else. Okay. I was explaining to you that how will you be able to differentiate between a generator and a motor. What we have on the screen have got split rings. You can see these are carbon brushes. These are split rings. It is a DC. It is having direct current because it have got split rings. As that's how we differentiate between AC and DC. But it is not a generator, it is a motor. Why is it a motor? It's because you can see here we've got a battery. We've got a source of energy. So this thing, it is going to operate because of this energy here. You can see this is an electric circuit. And you can see the carbon brushes are continuous with the what? With this electric carrying wire. You can see that the wire is coming out from the coin through the carbon brush. As I told you that the function of a carbon brush is to complete the circuit. So the circuit is completed. This carbon brush is causing current that is conducted in the rotating wire to be controlled out of the coin to the external part of the circuit. If it was a generator. So this time around, current is not being produced here. Current is going to be derived by what? Current is going to be derived by this voltage that is being produced here. As you can see that the battery is being connected. So current is going to move and it goes to the internal part of the circuit and cause it to rotate. So this is a generator because of the battery. You can see the battery here. So that's how we get to generate. So if it is a generator, we're not going to have a battery. We're not going to have a battery. We're just going to have the wires, no battery. So this is a motor. This is not a generator, it's a motor because of the battery. This is not a generator, it's a motor because of a battery. You can see there's a connection of a battery. So this one is not a generator, it's a battery. I have a recap, as this is the end of this first section of the lesson. Just go to the next lesson so that you can see the graphs. And don't forget to support the channel by subscribing and sharing these links to many kids, to many colleagues, as possible as we can, so that we assist South Africa. We need South African kids to be educated. Let us assist. This is my constituent. I'm trying the best I can. So let us all do our part. Okay, so we've got the AC and then a DC generator. The AC and the DC generator. I'm going to talk about their advantages and their disadvantages in the lesson number 2 when I explain the graphs. So it's a recap. AC, we said that they've got slip rings. This one has got split rings, and the function of slip ring, which is cause current to alternate. This one is cause current to move in a single direction and continuously. So we spoke about carbon brush. Sometimes you'll find that the DC is called commutators. So don't be surprised when you find that they call them commutators. Split rings are also called commutators. Carbon brush, and we say their function is to do what? Is to complete the circuit. Is to complete the circuit, which is to cause a current to be derived from the rotating part of the circuit to the stationary part of the circuit. So ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of the first section for electrodynamics. Stay tuned and go to the next video whereby I'm explaining graphs and I'm talking about the functions, the advantages, the disadvantages of AC and DC generators. Alright, thank you. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.